Hello, everyone. I know I don't have my typical opening. I think I accidentally deleted it right when I went on vacation. I still have it, but I have to just re-export it. I do have a wonderful guest today, John Automates. You've seen him before on this stream. And yeah, I am excited to talk to him. He actually saw Mission Impossible earlier today, which is awesome. I'm probably going to see it in the next few days. So I'd love to, if anyone has any questions that they want to ask John about Mission Impossible, non-spoiler questions, that would be lovely. And I'm sure he would love to answer them. It is happy hour. Happy Tuesday, everyone. I have, again, the same stuff that I drink all the time. I just got back from Pittsburgh visiting my boyfriend's dad. And yeah, we had a great time. The weather was lovely. There is some construction going on above me still, so if it sounds horrible, then that's why. So let's go to the comments just to start. There's a lot of trailers that I want to talk about because today there were like brand new trailers. The Napoleon trailer dropped yesterday. A lot to discuss. So let's see here to start off. Holland Oates, thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Happy hour. Thank you. We have Dimension Scott. Very nice to see you. Thank you. Hello. Hawkeye Heyoka Edits. I apologize if I mispronounced that, but I think I did an okay job there. Hello. Thank you for joining. And that's Maxfield, my boyfriend. He is at work right now, and he always likes to stop in and say hi and support the channel. The channel is doing quite well. So my subscriber count's been really getting up there, and my watch time hours are looking really solid. And I want to apologize to anyone that watched the last video I did on the conversation. I had a lot of technical difficulties with that one. The sound was really bad, and I was glitchy with the camera. I think I won't have those issues moving forward. But it was like, I don't have like a written script really when I make these videos, and I kind of just go off of notes. And it felt like to redo the whole thing would have just been, I don't know, kind of silly. And I thought it was okay enough to just put out. So I apologize again for the technical issues of that the conversation about the conversation, because it's a great movie. And if you haven't seen it, check it out. I highly recommend it. The View with Drew. Hey, how's it going? Thank you so much for stopping by. Yeah, everyone's saying hi there. One skill point. Hello, cheers. Hope you're enjoying a nice libation at home, or maybe you will at some point. But yeah, just having a very happy Tuesday. So very cool, very cool. People are saying hi. I'm just gonna see here. Oh, perfect pronunciation. Oh, good. I'm happy to hear that. I try as much as I can. Okay. Let's see here. Everyone's saying hi. Oh, yes, it's Emmett's birthday today. I saw that on Instagram. So happy birthday, Emmett. Enjoy being 30. It just gets better from there. So we're going to talk for a little bit, and then at 5, John's going to join me. And again, if you have Mission Impossible questions, he saw it this morning. Non-spoiler, questions, preferably, since I haven't seen it yet, and I'm sure most of the people watching this have not seen it yet either. I don't know if we will get to the trailers, but I'm curious if anyone's seeing this. The reviews for Barbie are saying it's outstanding. I've seen multiple people say give Ryan Gosling an Oscar nomination. It's not that it's hard for me to believe. It's kind of shocking that it's getting such a positive response. I do love the writers a lot, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach. So I feel like what they put out is always of a quality standard. And I don't think they're idiots. I think they are both like this intellectual couple that likes to write, and they're putting something out there. But it's Barbie. So I was not expecting such overly positive reviews from the film. I think the embargo lifts probably next week. I don't think anyone's actually allowed to really fully give a video review or like a critic review, but but people are saying on Twitter is pretty interesting with that one. So if you are interested in seeing Barbie, are you surprised about the positive reviews? Yeah, I'd love to hear that in the comments. We might talk about that a little bit later, some more. But for now, I'm going to go back to the comments. Let's see here. Cheers. Yes, cheers. Yes, Matt H., thank you for stopping by. Cheers. Hope you're having a great time. Hope you're all having a lovely Tuesday. It's summertime here in the United States. I'm on the East Coast. It's been pretty hot, but recently it, calmed down a little bit. Yesterday was a little brutal, but yeah, it's been pretty nice. Nicholas McMath, hello. Thank you for showing up. I'm not sure. I feel like I've seen your name before, but I'm not positive. Sometimes if there's no photo, then I get a little confused if I've seen someone here before on one of my streams, but I'm happy you're here. So thank you, Nicholas. Horsetooth Cinema, yes. Yeah, he's very knowledgeable about movies. And again, I always say this in my live streams, a lot of the people that are in the chats have channels, and I highly recommend checking them out and subscribing because, people that are really into movies, they really care about the content they put out, and they love just talking about nerdy stuff about movies, and I really appreciate that. So thank you so much, Horsetooth Cinema, for showing up for the live stream. Barbie, surrealist Lynchian masterpiece incoming. Yeah, I'm telling you, it's very interesting to see the response it's getting. I thought it would, be like, oh, the script is clever, so it'll get an Oscar nomination for that. I kind of could see that happening just because of who wrote it. But yeah, to go to the extent of saying that Ryan Gosling should get an Oscar nomination for playing Ken is a trip. So it's actually getting me a little bit more pumped about it. I will say, I was like, well, I'll see it. I'm doing a double feature with Oppenheimer. I'll see Oppenheimer first, obviously, and then see Barbie afterwards. And I'm getting a little bit more excited for Barbie. So yeah, very, very interesting. So we have it constantly gets better. Being in your 30s, you finally kind of understand who you are a lot better than you're in your 20s. I felt like so lost in my 20s, and then when I started getting into my 30s, I was just don't care as much about drama and nonsense, and you just kind of get to learn who you are a lot better. And yeah, you learn to just not care as much about things that you really don't need to care about, and then care more about the things that you really should be caring more about. And I think that's kind of what happens in your 30s. So enjoy. I never doubted the power of Greta Gerwig. She's awesome. She has such a unique voice. There's not a lot like that out there. And actually, Bone Bridger, who I've had on my channel, and I'm on his channel quite often, he's a screenwriter, and he says one of the screenplays, if you're a writer, that everyone should read is the script for Lady Bird, because it kind of he said it breaks a lot of typical rules, because you don't really necessarily have to follow the formats that you see for a screenplay. Like you could kind of, and I remember Max Landis was discussing this quite a few years ago, and it was kind of like you just want to create a screenplay that grabs the reader, keeps them interested, doesn't necessarily have to be perfect formatting. You can even play with the formatting and use all capitals, or do something weird on the page just to make that reader get some, a better sense of what you're trying to create. So I'm actually looking into figuring out buying the Lady Bird script if possible, which I think they do have books as scripts as books now. I'm sure they've had them forever, but anyway, he said that was a really great example of being really standing out as a screenwriter, and kind of just really clever things she did within the writing. So I'm curious to see what she does with Barbie for sure. Let's see. I'm just going to click on this one too, because this is part of the subject matter that we're talking about right now. I saw Lady Bird when I was in my last year of high school. It was really the right time to see it. That's so interesting. So Lady Bird takes place when I was in high school, I believe. So 2005, 2004, 2006. A lot of references to that era when I was in high school. it's nice when someone writes something where people can be not knowledgeable about that era or that time period, and it's not just a nostalgia thing. So like if you saw it in high school and you're in high school, 10 years later, or more, I guess. Yeah, I guess more. I'm so bad with dates, but regardless, all I'm saying is, you will. It's great to see writing where it doesn't really matter if you experience that time period or not, and you can still relate to it in some way. So that's pretty awesome. Um, the next subject matter I would like to discuss, and then in about half hour, John Automates will join us. Has anyone here seen the Napoleon trailer with Joaquin Phoenix? Ridley Scott's Napoleon film just released a teaser trailer and it looks so awesome. I can't wait for this. I'd heard about it. It just looks so well done. It looks so cool. Joaquin Phoenix is one of the greatest living actors of our generation, century. I'm not part of his generation, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I mean, it looks stunning. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I cannot wait. And if you haven't seen the Napoleon trailer, like check it out. It literally just came out yesterday. So I'm looking forward to that. And I think Ridley Scott is doing. Maybe you guys know this. I feel like I've heard that Joaquin Phoenix is doing. No, I don't think that would make sense because I know Ridley Scott's doing Gladiator 2, but next that would be the next project. So that's going to be very interesting to see. I think it's Ridley Scott is kind of like. I don't know, just doing like the last big things that he really wants to do with his career. And I think he's just going for it at this point. So that's really awesome. So yeah, if anyone has thoughts about the Napoleon trailer, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let's see who's in the chat. Just watching Shrek Forever after and later going to watch the rest of the Shrek movies. Lance, you know what? I was just thinking about the Shrek movies today and how I would really enjoy a rewatch. It's been a real long time, and those are solid movies. So I really I was singing the Imogene Heap cover of I Need a Hero, which plays in the credits of the first Shrek movie. And I was thinking to myself, like, oh, I should rewatch these because it's been a really long time. Oh, yes. Yes, I saw that. I think that's really cool. I'm not convinced about the whole multiverse thing that they're going to do for this movie, too. Oh, my goodness. I mean, I know that they do this so much in comics, but it's like every movie we're getting has a multiverse and multiple versions of the same characters. And obviously I'm open to it. I think Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are both incredibly with it, and I think they wouldn't be a part of something that was bad. But another multiverse movie. I mean, we'll see. I think the costume looks awesome though. It's cool that they're doing the original, the original look that the character had. Yes, that's in reference to Lady Bird. Yeah, that's a really great comment there. Yes, it does look so epic. I could actually. That's one of the trailers I feel like I could just watch over and over and over again. I used to do that obsessively with certain trailers. And I was like, I wanted to see how it was edited together and how they really made you feel certain things at certain times. And yeah, a really, really well done trailer. I highly recommend it. Napoleon, yeah, lots of love. I have seen that trailer. It looks interesting. Cinematography kind of reminds me of what he was going for at The Last Duel. And you know what? Horseshoe Cinema, I have not seen The Last Duel, and I've wanted to for so long. It's so high on my list. I will definitely be checking that out before Napoleon, for sure. It's biographical. It is 100%. Well, I can't say 100%. Obviously, there's probably artistic liberties, but it is a biographical film of Napoleon. It's not like when Sofia Coppola did the. Wasn't even satirical, but it was like a lot of artistic liberties taken with the Marie Antoinette film, which I actually quite liked. I don't think it's perfect. I think it has quite a few problems. Sofia Coppola's best film still is Lost in Translation. But I did enjoy a lot of aspects of the Marie Antoinette film. But this is going to be a much more directly historical, uh, probably just a very specific time period in his life, and it'll be a little, a window of seeing that time period and what was going on historically. 85. Wow. It's amazing. These directors are just, when you just get to do something you love like that, you just never want to retire. I always say this all the time. It's like, if you can just continue making movies and that's what you love, like you're just going to keep doing it until you can't anymore. And luckily he still can, because that's really fantastic. I might double feature Napoleon with Barry Lyndon. Ooh, that's a really good idea. I love that idea. Yeah. Barry Lyndon and Napoleon. Yeah, and you're right. Kubrick was working on a Napoleon movie, and I think that they're still doing like a mini series that Spielberg's producing. That's a Napoleon, like this is what Kubrick's vision was for the Napoleon series. There's a lot of artwork that you can see online, like a lot of storyboarding types of sketches. That would have been fascinating. Really would have been fascinating. And actually, now that we're discussing Napoleon again. Do you guys think that Joaquin Phoenix is going to get nominated for both Beau is Afraid and Napoleon? Because there's a really good chance that he could. I think if we look at the top people so far, I know it's very early in the season. So, and then if you guys don't want to hear about that, I totally understand why. But you've really got like Cillian Murphy for Oppenheimer. You got Joaquin Phoenix in both Napoleon and Beau is Afraid. I could see another Leo nomination potentially, or a Robert De Niro nomination for Killers of the Flower Moon, but who knows? But I'm really thinking that, if Joaquin Phoenix is not nominated for Best Actor for either Napoleon or Beau is Afraid, I would just be shocked. Beau is Afraid might have come out a little too early, so if it's going to be one, it might wind up just being Napoleon. Let's see here. And again, hope everyone is having a lovely happy hour. I'm going to cheers to all of you. Okay. Let's see. Oh, yes. She's in Mission Impossible, I believe. Yeah. That looks, again, the casting, the way it just looks so awesome. I'm really excited. And again, everyone watch the trailer. What do you think is Joaquin Phoenix's best performance? For me, it's between Joker and Walk the Line. Those are up there. Joker, I feel like it would have been. Oh, that's so tough, because then he did play a real person. I feel like that's really difficult to pull off, playing a real person and have that. You feel like you're not really watching Joaquin Phoenix. And actually, I will say, like, even though he has such a specific look, I disappear every time he's on the screen. Like, I don't think like, oh, it's Joaquin Phoenix doing this. Like there's a little bit of that. And he does have a very interesting physicality on screen. He knows how to move his body to create really cinematic images. And I really appreciate that from an acting standpoint. Again, so View with Joe, I would say absolutely both of those phenomenal performances. Check out Beau is Afraid. And even if you hate the movie, his performance is really phenomenal. So that's why I'm like, is it going to be Napoleon or Beau is Afraid? We'll see. I'm a bit concerned whether Napoleon will draw a large audience. Okay, I agree with you, but I think that it's because it's a biopic coming out in November. I think it's November. I think it is definitely trying to be like, we're an Oscar movie. This movie's really good. Like, everyone see it. So I think that has that on its side more so than The Last Duel. Unless I'm wrong, The Last Duel was a historical piece that was accurate. I could see Napoleon, because we really haven't gotten a Napoleon movie, unless I'm blanking on all of them. I'm pretty positive we've never gotten a Napoleon movie prior. So then I think that has a much bigger draw at the box office. And I think people really like Joaquin Phoenix. People really like Adam Driver, but I think people will go to see a Joaquin Phoenix movie more than an Adam Driver film. And that doesn't mean Adam Driver's bad. Adam Driver's an amazing actor. I think it's just that that it quality that like people just want to watch Joaquin Phoenix do anything. You know, you can read the phone book and people want to watch him do that. Hail to the chat. Hey, Matt, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you. I feel like the Academy will snub him for Bo. Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I think they're going to, I don't know. I hope they get something, some nominations. That movie deserves a lot of nominations for quite a few things. But yeah, if you're right, I think if they're going to choose one to nominate Joaquin for, it will probably be Napoleon and not Beau's Afraid. But he definitely deserves a nomination for Beau's Afraid as well. Yep. Yeah, we're all saying the same thing. Oh, it's the same thing. I do this every week, except for that one time I got coronas and got too sleepy. This is just the sour monkey. I know. I just got off a I was just in Pittsburgh. I just flew in yesterday, and I didn't have time really to get anything exciting. So I apologize. I feel like literally I should just like call Victory and be like, hey, I'm advertising this every week. So you know, just kidding. But you know what I mean. Because I just haven't changed it. So yes, Cody, thank you so much. Everyone check out Cody's channel. As I always say, you know, everyone in the chat, a lot of them have YouTube channels that you guys should check out. But Cody's has some really great reviews. He has a lot of fun. Like, he doesn't take himself too seriously. Like, he puts on costumes and stuff, and like that's so refreshing on YouTube. And I really appreciate his opinion. And he's really great about just getting people excited about movies and why you should love movies and why he loves movies. And I know that's in the title of his name, but it's really true. It's like he gets you amped up on films, you know. So I think he's a great person. So everyone should definitely check his channel out. The View with Drew, my favorite Joaquin performance was well, that's such a good movie. And actually we were just talking about Lost in Translation, and Spike Jonze and Sofia Coppola used to be married, and when they got divorced, Sofia Coppola wrote Lost in Translation, and the Giovanni Ribisi character was based off of Spike Jonze, and then Spike Jonze wrote Her, which was supposed to be representative of his marriage with Sofia Coppola. So they're really interesting pieces, and they came out very similar to each other, and they both won the Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. So, I mean, that is just, I don't know. I love stuff like that. I think that's just so cool. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Her's phenomenal. It's so good. And it's on it. I mean, maybe you'd think the concept now isn't that like crazy, because I feel like that happens now where people do have like girlfriend apps where it's like an AI girlfriend and things like that. But back then that was all very new stuff, and it really explores just, you know, falling in love with like Siri. You know, I mean, it's very interesting having that codependency with an AI with a female voice. And again, that's going on now a lot, but it was not going on back then. And Joaquin is absolutely amazing, and the cinematography in that film is gorgeous. The View with Drew dress, yes, so good. Okay, that's a really good explanation there. So yeah, I think we've all come to the conclusion Napoleon will probably do much better at the box office. Oh my God, Napoleon Dynamite. My boyfriend just said earlier today, it was like, announce the Napoleon Dynamite prequel. So yeah, we're all on the same page, Matt. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I did not know that, we both didn't know that Napoleon was also a Sony product. I thought it was just Apple TV Plus, but it is also a Sony film as well. Yeah, I mean, yes, they're different. They're definitely different. And I really think that people will be more interested. Like, if you just showed Joaquin Phoenix on a poster and you just showed Adam Driver on a poster, I think people would be gravitating more towards Joaquin Phoenix because he's such a mysterious type of guy, you know, and it's a very interesting type of guy. But again, they are both great actors. So I agree with that. I'm just going to I'm going to switch subject matters in a moment before my guest comes. But I'm going to go through the last couple of these just discussing Napoleon Dynamite. Don't forget to vote for Pedro. Absolutely. I could never forget to vote for Pedro. That's true. Oh, you're welcome, Cody. Yeah, everyone check him out. I never knew that. I need to watch her immediately. Yes, do it. It's a great, yeah, that would be a great companion piece, watching Lost in Translation and then her. Because, yeah, I'm sure their marriage was very complicated. So the next subject matter I did want to discuss before my guest comes is the Wonka trailer. I don't know if you guys saw that, but that premiered today too. I did not know it was the same director as Paddington. I have not seen Paddington, but I've heard like it's so good. So I definitely want to watch that at some point. My first initial thoughts when the trailer started were Timothée Chalamet always to me looks like a child. So him taking on the shoes of Gene Wilder's Willy Wonka. I don't include the Johnny Depp Willy Wonka. Nothing against Johnny Depp or Tim Burton, but I hated that remake. It was a little jarring, but now knowing that, seeing the full trailer and seeing it's a prequel and it's seeing how there's a lot of magic involved, there's a lot of whimsical stuff going on. I personally, it made me really excited to see it. So I don't know if you guys have seen it though. But yeah, definitely if you haven't seen it after, whenever you guys are doing what you're doing, I would definitely go on YouTube and watch the Wonka trailer. I mean, like Timothée Chalamet is always solid when it comes to his roles. I just always think of him as like he's 15, So, but I did really appreciate the moments and beats that I saw within the trailer for this. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to put Holland's comment up again. Do any of you guys watch? Actually, sorry, we're right here. And then I'll change subjects again. I feel like a lot of people may not have seen this Wonka trailer today. I don't know if you've ever seen that Woody Allen movie Chalamet was in. He plays a guy named Gatsby Wells, but that's what he looked like in the Wonka trailer. I'm trying to remember. I've seen most. I'll just look it up right now because I've 100% seen like 70% of Woody Allen movies, especially if they're newer. Woody Allen. So the last movie he did was not the last movie, but Wonder Wheel's too old. If you have the name of that movie, I would love to know because I feel like, oh, I think I found it. Is it called A Rainy Day in New York? Yes, it is. I have not seen this. It's because they don't market Woody Allen movies anymore, and that's kind of, I don't want to get into things one way or another, but I literally did not know this movie existed. And it's with Timothée Chalamet and Elle Fanning, Liev Schreiber. Yeah, this movie looks awesome. How was it? Did you enjoy it? Because I would definitely want to see it. I know like his later films are kind of hit or miss sometimes, but I typically normally enjoy myself with a Woody Allen movie. Trailer grew on me. Hugh Grant is okay. Yeah, I mean, as soon as I saw that, I was like, they did the smartest thing ever because you cannot do what they did in the original movie. It is just the fact that they even got away with it back then. So to make Hugh Grant just like super, super, super small is definitely the way to go. And it definitely worked for the trailer. Absolutely. Yes. Sorry. We all figured that out together. Thank you for your, you weren't huge on it. Yeah. I mean, let's see. I don't even know what the last one of his I saw. I wanted to see Wonder Wheel. There's the latest one was The Theater in 2020. He just wrote a screenplay called Coupe de Chance. So it's probably gonna take place in France. I kind of like that he started to change his locations and went to Europe. Vicky Cristina Barcelona, Midnight in Paris, even Match Point. I love Match Point. I don't know if you guys have seen Match Point. It actually doesn't even feel like a Woody Allen movie, but he wrote it, and he actually won an Oscar for that as well for Best Original Screenplay. I love it. Scarlett Johansson's in it. Um, Jonathan Rhys Meyers is in it, and then I always forget his name. In The Watchmen, he played like the villain, Adrian. But I really can't remember what that actor's name is. I haven't seen him in a lot actually, too. So I don't know what he's been up to. Hello, Luke. How's it going? Planning to Mission Impossible 7 tonight. Awesome. Yeah, I'm probably going to see you in a couple days. My guest saw it this morning. So when he joins, he's not going to do any spoilers if people ask, because he understands. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. I've just been hearing nonstop great things. Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's a movie I actually heard a lot of positive things about as well. So I'll definitely check that one out. I'll probably stream that one. Is it? I guess did you see it in the theater or did you stream it? I don't know if it's available to stream yet, but um, either way, yes. So the Wonka trailer. Well, we got on a tangent about Woody Allen movies. Yeah. So I don't even. So let's just all see real quick who's in the new Woody Allen movie. It's all French people. Wow. It's all French actors. That's so interesting. Did you guys know that? Like maybe he can't make movies here anymore. I don't know. That's kind of sad. But at least he's still making movies. So um yes, let's see here. Match Point is my favorite Woody film. Great call. Matthew Good. That's who it was. Yes, from The Watchmen. I love that film. And did you guys see the new trailer with Zendaya? It's called The Challengers, I believe. They keep making sexy tennis movies, and I'm all for it. So let's just keep the sexy tennis movies coming. Yeah, that trailer looks really cool, and I'm excited to see what Zendaya does with her career because she's really taking some chances. Something that Tom Holland could learn from, or Tom Holland's agent could learn from. But yeah, I want to see the challengers for sure. It looks like my mic is gone. Not my mic, my here. I'll do this while I ay, ay, ay. Here. I'll put this on while as I fix the technical difficulty. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what is going on. Actually, when Zane was on 2 weeks ago, he told me something to buy because I always pre-record stuff earlier with Bone Bridger and John before my live stream, and then I don't have enough battery power, I think, to sustain the live stream and all that. So my camera's gonna charge a bit while we're waiting on my guest. He'll be here in like 10 minutes or less. So I'm gonna just continue with the comments. I apologize if I'm so bright. I'm going to turn this down now because different camera, different settings. That seems to be working a little bit better there. Okay. Let's see here. Yes. So we were talking about Match Point. Yeah, that is a great movie and everyone should watch it. 100%. Yeah. Well, yeah, we were talking about sexy tennis movies. Yeah. Keep them coming. Went down for $6 to rent. Okay, cool. I'll check it out. Finish John Wick. Well, I loved John Wick, so I would definitely be interested in watching that. That's for sure. Yes, exactly. We can quote Nerdy Film Girl on We Need More Sexy Tennis Movies. That sounds good to me. Hi, Kal-El. Hello, nice to see you. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. Yes, you must have joined right when my camera went out and I got back on because now the lighting's all different. But I think that everything will be fine because I think it just needs like 10 minutes and I can get John back on or John on for the first time tonight. and I think my camera will be just fine. So we're gonna use the computer's automatic camera for now. Do any of you guys? Because I know we talked about the Wonka trailer for a bit. One of my favorite HBO shows. First of all, I don't know if you guys know Nathan Fielder, but Nathan Fielder had a show called Nathan for You, and then he had a show on HBO called oh my god, what was that called? You guys probably know what it is. It's like an experimental show, and I can't remember what it's called at the moment. Anyway, he produced this guy's show on HBO called How To with John Wilson. It's so good, and I'm so sad they just announced it's going to be the last season, third season. He essentially, this guy like walks around New York, takes a lot of B-roll footage, and then creates a narrative. So like he it's very dry humor, but it's really well done, and I highly recommend it. It's called How To with John Wilson. And I'm going to see if I can actually, and if none of you care about this, that's okay. But I really think you guys would like it. Get up the old IMDb. Yeah. So this, I'll just present my screen here for a second. Yeah, so I don't know if you guys can see this. But it's so good. And what he does is, again, it's like documentary style, but then he just creates a narrative with it. And it's really fun. It's really smart. Nathan Fielder is a producer. And actually, if you guys are Nathan Fielder fans, Nathan Fillion, we're not looking at Nathan Fillion at the moment. The Rehearsal, that's what it was called. So yeah, they had Nathan for You, and then they had The Rehearsal, and this show was just wild, and it keeps getting crazier and crazier and crazier, and it's all kind of like reality show style, just in the sense that like they're not actors, and he's just creating an experiment of how to prepare yourself for certain things in life and or like helping people deal with their anxiety with specific people. But he'll recreate like an entire set that looks like the dive bar where you're planning on telling your best friend that you were lying about something, and then they'll rehearse it, and it just keeps getting more layered and layered and layered. If you haven't seen it, it's I think fantastic. I'm really curious to see what Nathan does next. And then again, Nathan for You was fantastic. Nathan for You was just him like helping businesses with the worst ideas and like the most outrageous ideas. So, and he'll be able to convince them like, oh, your funeral home like really needs, I don't know. I can't even come up with an example off the top of my head, but like, let's just say it needs to have like a dual like hot tub like experience. And it's like, what? Why would that work at all? Like it doesn't. But he somehow like convinces these businesses to go along with whatever bad idea he has. And then chaos ensues. And it's just, it's so fun. Let's see here. Yes, that's because I was changing cameras, so I apologize. And my lighting's different for both. Yes, Nathan Fielder is fantastic. Yeah, so Nathan for You, HBO gave him a deal and he created this, which you could tell he spent a lot of planning. I feel like it was kind of one of those like trees of branches just being like, oh, okay, so if this happens, then this is going to happen. And I have to make sure that this doesn't happen. And then this could potentially happen. And watching it, you're like, how did he come up with this? How long did he spend even coming up with these concepts? And a lot of it is organically happening because the episodes progress. He didn't plan for a lot of the things that happen on the show, and he's just going with it and then turning things even more crazier. So highly recommend it. But yeah, the whole reason we brought this up was because of the John Wilson show, which is How To with John Wilson. HBO just has the best shows, I think. They really do. Yeah, so this is the guy. He literally just goes around New York and films. I again winds up creating a narrative. And I think he has like a couple people that will also go out and film B-roll, because some of the stuff that they capture is mind-blowing. You guys can watch the teaser trailer for the last and final season, but I think that show should just go on forever. I've never heard of this Nathan person. Okay, so a good starter for you then would be Nathan For You. That's how I think a lot of people were introduced by him. And it's like the cringiest of cringe, but it's all on purpose. Like he's from Canada, and he used to have a show on like local Canadian television where he would have like really uncomfortable interviews that were just really awkward. And then he developed this show for Comedy Central, and that's him fixing businesses. And then then he eventually did the rehearsal on HBO, and that's okay. I didn't know about him either for a really long time. So definitely just I would start with maybe Nathan For You. I don't know where you can watch it on Comedy Central. I don't know what Comedy Central streams on per se. Maybe Hulu. I'm not sure. But I would start here, so then you kind of get a sense of his style of humor, because it is cringe. It is so cringe, and it's all in him interacting with real people and not actors. So, but it's really smart. Like I feel like a lot of people can do that, but it's kind of like stupid humor. His stuff is always really intelligent stuff. Let's see. My guest is coming on soon, and I didn't send him a link because I'm a bad host. I don't know. I feel like, again, once you come back from a trip, it's like your whole routine gets a little screwed up, and you have to figure it all out. But I'm inviting him right now. And I think we talked, if anyone's joining a little late, we covered today the positive Barbie reviews, the Napoleon trailer, which looked awesome, and the Wonka trailer, as well as the final season being announced of How To with John Wilson on HBO. But yeah, I'm pretty excited for a lot of these things. Let's see. I'm going to get out of this. There we are. Is anyone like looking forward to Blue Beetle? I'm not sure if anyone is. I'm curious about it, and I think I'll probably do a live stream with my boyfriend about it, because he's such a huge DC guy. So I kind of made him like the designated DC co-host, so that when when a film comes out like Blue Beetle or whatever, I'll have him on for that. So I think it looks pretty good. Oh, we have our guest here. Fantastic. I'll tell John what's going on with the microphone, but here, what I'm gonna do is, this is not my typical intro video. It must have been deleted. Normally it's a very cocktail from every movie type of video, and then at the end I say who my guest is. This vacation screwed up a lot of stuff, so I apologize. But we will get this going, and we will have John on momentarily. Okay, here, I'm going to add John to the stream. Hey, John.
I love that intro. That's a nice intro.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I have another one that I normally use for this, and I deleted it by mistake. Like I just have to re-export it from Premiere, but it would have your channel name and all that stuff. But unfortunately, not today. But that's something I use for other things. But I figured it would work at least. So yeah, I was telling everyone in the chat that you saw Mission Impossible today.
I did, and I will refrain from saying anything about it because I don't want to be the guy who spoils anything. So yeah.
Can you say if you at least felt you had like a positive time or negative?
I loved it, but I'm biased because I've loved Mission Impossible since Mission Impossible was one of the very first movies I watched with like my family. It was like one of the very first like non-PG for that era in time back in like the 90s movies where it's like, oh, sit down and we'll all watch it. And Tom Cruise. So yeah, I have a bit of a bias. I like all of the Mission Impossibles. So yeah, I think it was great. I think this is a good I think it's going to be a good palate cleanser for a lot of people who have been craving a little bit more of a. There's stunts and things like that, but it's still a little bit more grounded than the stuff we've been seeing with the, the CGI and the big epics and the hyper universes and everything like that. I think it'll be a lot better for a lot of people.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm sorry about this. I'm just gonna mirror my camera because it looks like I'm not looking at you at all. So I'm just gonna do that.
I don't think mine looks like that either, but that's because we all have crazy camera setups.
No, yours is fine. Yours is fine. I feel like it's bad if the host is just like looking out here and not or I guess I would do this now that I'm mirrored. But yeah, no, that's cool. I think it's probably going to do pretty well at the box office.
Oh, for sure.
And it's a great summer movie. A lot of people. You're right. I think like they're craving something like that. It is a good palate cleanser for what we've been getting.
It's also why I think Barbie and Oppenheimer will do pretty well as well, because it's just different. Sometimes you just need different. And we started off this year with so many of like, this is the event, the premiere, this, and the big superhero or the big ensemble with like Fast X. And how about something else? Just something a little bit different.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. And I that's why I'm kind of looking forward to the fall, because I feel like that's when we get a lot of the different stuff. But this year in particular, you're right. It was so overkill with remakes or things that we knew were sequels or trilogies, whatever. And it tends to get worse every summer. I feel like.
Yes.
I'm going to go into the chat briefly, and I might actually have you take over the chat just for like 2 minutes. I'm going to see where we left off here. We were talking about John Wilson. That's an HBO show that I was going on and on about. It's their final season, third season. I really enjoyed it. It was Nathan For You and Nathan Fielder did that show called The Rehearsal, and I like his sense of humor a lot. This John Wilson's a guy that he's produced a show for, and it's like him just walking around New York with a camera, but it's funny, and it's almost like he creates a narrative. So you don't actually even see this guy; you just hear his voice narrating. Like
that's the
some type of hypothetical thought. Yeah.
That's the how-to thing?
How-to with John Wilson. Yeah.
I've only seen like clips. I haven't watched the entire thing.
Okay. Yeah. It's kind of fun. It's I like the concept a lot. Very smart. But I'm going to start you off here, and I will be right back momentarily if you don't mind taking over just for like 2 minutes. If you're cool.
Sure. If I can, I don't know if I can control the chat, but I can at least see it. So I'll do that.
Oh yeah. I think if you can click on it. I think, does that work for you, or does that not work for you?
No, I don't think it works for me. I don't do live streaming for people in the chat, so I don't know how to do any of this stuff.
I know. I don't know if I was supposed to make you a co-host here.
But I can see it, so I can just answer stuff. So go ahead.
Okay. Cool.
All right. So
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I agree. Blue Beetle will usher in the need. Well, that's the thing. Will Blue Beetle actually do it? Because James Gunn says it is a part of it, then he says it's not a part of it. I think there's so much of a back and forth, and then when we have quite honestly, there's no other way to put it. The failures of Shazam and Flash, which were supposed to be these big movies, the Flash in particular. Blue Beetle, I don't know, but I like Zolo. I think it should be fun. I do see that they're trying to do a little bit of damage control, trying to make sure that people actually want to come in. The excitement, though, leaves a little bit to be desired, I think. I think that's going to be something that is, time will tell. Time will tell. And I see, Matt, I see your comments about Blue Beetle and Young Justice. I think that's how a lot of people were introduced to Blue Beetle. Blue Beetle is... He's not a new character, but he's a new character for a lot of the general audience. And a lot of people were either probably introduced with Young Justice or like the whole comic storyline of him and Booster Gold, which I think is going to be the reason why the Booster Gold pairing, or whoever ends up playing him in James Gunn's universe, if he can get that storyline together, that could be kind of interesting. Let's see who else we have. Hello to everybody. And Horse 2 Cinema. I've only seen Mission Impossible 1 and 4. So the favorite entry, I've seen all the Mission Impossibles many times over. My favorite entry, ironically, or maybe not, or unironically, is Mission Impossible 3. I think that was, that's the J.J. Abrams. I just think Mission Impossible 3 had a lot going for it in the fact that Philip Seymour Hoffman as the villain, I still think did the best overall job. I think there's been many good villains since, but I think Philip Seymour Hoffman was actually menacing and actually threatening. Gosh, yeah, he did a really good job, and I think it also starts off really well as well, where you see Tom Cruise or Ethan Hunt in distress at the very beginning of the movie, and then the rest of the movie is the lead up to him being in distress and what occurs after. I think it was really well done, and honestly, the stunts are ironically really grounded in that one as well. You know, the big stunt that he did in that third one was him running from the car, and then the missile hits and he falls into the other car. But yeah, there's something about it. The third one was just one of my favorites. And Nerdy Film Girl is back. Hello.
Yes, I am back. Can you hear me or am I muted?
I can hear you.
Oh, perfect. Excellent.
I don't know
Fantastic.
if you hear there's a lot of children playing in the background. I'm not the grumpy old man who likes to go out there and yell at them. I want them to have their fun, but just in case you hear like some little almost mice-like sounds, that's what that is.
That's okay. I have construction going on. I think everything's sounding good. I personally don't hear anything
All right, cool.
interruptive on your end of the thing of the camera there.
All right, awesome.
Who's were you responding to this? I guess maybe you
Yeah,
were talking
no, I
about
was
Mission.
responding to Horse. I got all the way down to Horse 2 Cinemas about
Oh,
the Mission
perfect.
Impossible.
Oh, perfect.
So,
This one.
yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Let's see what we have
Oh,
here.
okay. So a lot of people are wondering that I'm not going to spoil anything. The continued ending it's makes sense, and it leaves you on a cliffhanger, but it doesn't leave you on one where you feel like you've missed out. And if that makes sense, like there's some cliffhangers where you're just like, all right, well, what was the point of all of this beforehand? That doesn't do that here. I think it's well done, and I think it does a good job of leaving the audience of wanting, like, oh, all right, I'm ready. I'm geared up to see this next one.
Very cool. I like that. I really liked the cliffhanger ending of Across the Spider-Verse.
I thought that
So
was well done as well. Yes.
yeah, they can be done well.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah. Let's talk about Philip Seymour Hoffman in the third Mission Impossible. I thought he just
Yes.
brought some really good gravitas to it. Again, all the villains have been good, but if you think about the first two, it was the villains were there, but not as it was more of like Tom Cruise being the hero, and he's such a hero, even though he loses his whole team in the first one. Like it doesn't play the same. There is literal danger in the third one, I think, and I think that was only at the time could have only been done well by Philip Seymour Hoffman.
He's one of my favorites, and anything that he's in, he's one of those actors where you just want to see it. Yeah, so captivating to watch. Let's see. I've seen all the Mission Impossible movies, but only once. Is that going to be good enough, or do I need to watch certain ones? And if so, which ones would you suggest, John?
I don't think you need to rewatch. There's nothing here that makes you go, man, there's a little callback here and there, but there's nothing here that makes you go, oh man, I remember that moment, or what was that moment. It's not anything like what we see in superhero movies. I think you're perfectly fine just watching this and calling it a day. If you wanted to really rewatch something, then honestly, Fallout, like the very last one we just had, would probably be the best bet, because it is in a way a direct continuation.
That's a great suggestion, because I've been asked that as well, and I wasn't sure, but now that knowing from someone that's seen the movie, that's a great advice for people. Absolutely. We were discussing earlier a couple things. This week has been jam-packed with trailers.
Yes, it is.
Teaser trailers.
Did you talk about Napoleon already?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was such an epic trailer. What were your thoughts on that?
Oh my goodness. It just looks, there's something about it that just feels like you're going to see something. You know what it looks like? It looks like a history book come to life. Ridley Scott just has that ability, I feel like, to really convey. And I think what's going to be interesting, I don't know if you got this feeling from the trailer, but I certainly did, as you're watching the trailer, you almost become immersed in it a little bit. You're like, wait a minute, this, like, you come out of the trailer and you almost like want to watch it again. That's how I felt.
Yes, I was saying that earlier. That's one of those hypnotic trailers that you want to just keep watching over and over. And that there was a question that was, is it historically accurate? And I think it is. It's not a
Mm.
satire. We were discussing briefly the Marie Antoinette film by Sofia Coppola because that was a little bit more satirical. It looks like, and maybe my French history is wrong, but it looked like in the beginning that was Ridley Scott's interpretation of Marie Antoinette getting her head chopped off. And I don't know if
I
that's in
think
Napoleon.
so.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that because that's supposed to be Josephine, his wife, right? In the movie, she's the one who kind of as the empress,
Yes, yes. And
and
they
I
had a woman with like a crazy white
yeah,
hair wig that was getting tomatoes thrown at her, and then they chop her head off. So I was like, okay, so that this is taking place, I guess, like right
like
after that
right at
happened.
yeah, and I think like very early, and I think there's a little part of me that wonders if they're going to obviously Napoleon is the focus, but I wonder how much focus they'll put on Josephine because there are certain scenes in that trailer where it's kind of like, hey, I'm the one who kind of helped you get here. And I would be highly interested to see how that plays out on film of like the power dynamic a little bit where like, yeah, he's in part the face, but behind the scenes she's working because
Right.
that's historically that has happened quite often.
Yes, that has. Yeah, and again with Joaquin as the lead, it's like, you got something so fresh and new every time he's in something,
Yes,
even
yeah,
though,
you
and
do.
you get lost in it. You don't think it's Joaquin Phoenix again, like, but it's a completely different experience every time.
I am also curious if they are going to go into the arrests. Speaking of French history,
Oh
uh,
yeah.
I think there's a period of time. I'd have to look this up. I think there's a period of time where she tries to arrest Napoleon, if I'm correct.
Wow, that
And
would be
I
very interesting.
and so at the end of the trailer, I kind of got that feeling of like, oh, are they going to go into the whole thing where she tries to scheme against them? Because you,
Mm,
you never really know how long of time some of these are going to take place over. So,
yeah.
but either way, the whole thing just looks really, really good. Like, hey, you're going to sit down and you'll be immersed. The war scenes look great. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and I had brought up, do you think Joaquin Phoenix will get nominated for either Beau is Afraid or Napoleon for a Best Actor
Oh, for
nomination?
one of them, for
Yeah.
absolutely maybe both, but for definitely for
I,
one.
yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And the only reason he might not get nominated for Beau is Afraid is because it might have come out a little too early in the year, and sometimes people forget about those
Yeah,
performances.
that's true. That's
But
true.
I
Or
think
maybe,
I think he deserves it for that for sure.
yeah.
So we'll go back to the chat. Okay. Oh yes. Okay. Fritzky. He's Fritzky's in film school right now.
Nice.
He has a channel. Really great kid. He's a big David Lynch fan, and so he's a really nice kid and really knowledgeable about film. Um, Philip Seymour Hoffman was a greatly versatile actor. He could be insane in like The Master, emotional in Schenectady, or hilarious like in Punch Drunk Love.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. You know that when they chose him for Mission Impossible, that felt like a turning of the franchise where it was like we're going to get deeply, deeply serious and really start to see if we can get a little bit more of the drama beats. And I think that was a direct result of some other things that had come out just before and just kind of the time period of how we were ingesting spy movies and thriller movies. And then I think they changed once again for the number 4 because it was like, all right, well, now things have kind of gone this way. So now it's more of the team dynamic. And that's when the stunts really started to ramp up. It's interesting seeing the history of film throughout the Mission Impossible franchises because there's so many things that change from movie to movie. And maybe that's why things feel fresh. Who knows? That could be one of the
That's
reasons.
true. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, kinda. I heard that. I've seen some reports, and I was on some posts where people were talking about it. Uh, yeah, actually, yeah, kinda. It's not anything that'll annoy you or anything like that. She's fun, but Palm does kind of play a little bit like Margot, just a bit. just because she is a very much a character, so it's not like your standard assassin, your standard spy. Like, she is very much like an actual colorful character, but she's fun though. Yeah, and you'll see it. She does have fun with the character, and I think it makes for a better movie, because had she been your standard, I don't know if it would have been as fun.
Yeah, Jeremy Johns said in his review that he felt it was very like John Wick inspired, like a John Wick inspired character to put in the film, and not in a bad way. Just like he was like, if you didn't have like the John Wick franchise, you might not have gotten this character.
Yeah, but you do notice it. That's for sure.
Yeah. Best action sequence in the movie, or at least your personal favorite?
The train sequence is going to probably be most people's. That's also a long sequence, though. I think the stunt for the train sequence is just fun, and then the chase throughout. You see some of it in the trailer. It's a good scene. It's just a good scene, and even though you kind of see and you know what's happening, it's not. It doesn't take away from like the feeling of thrill that you get. And I think you might end up seeing some people who say this, and I haven't seen anybody's reviews. I've only just talked with people about it, but a lot of people who I was talking to talked about how it almost like a little bit of a roller coaster, it feels like. And the train scene definitely does that for me. The ending will get you a little bit as well. And then obviously, the jump is what they show. The jump doesn't have the same magnitude as it does in the trailer. I will say that. But even still, it's still a really good, really, really good stunt.
Oh, well, that trailer is very well edited and hits all the emotional beats, and I can see in such a fast, quick, jumpy way why that jump in the trailer would be like, it did feel like, whoa, so.
And they did all these featurettes about it, so like we knew it, right?
Yeah.
Like we saw it and we knew it and everything like that. But it is done very, very well. But that's towards the end of the movie.
Really? It's at the end. Okay, towards the end.
Yeah, not yet. Okay. Pretty much towards the end. That's not like like sometimes they'll trick you and it's like something that happens like in the middle. Like we saw that in 4. A lot of people thought the Burj Khalifa tower scene was at the end, but that's actually more in the middle. But yeah, this is more towards the end.
Okay, cool. Opinions on Terrence Malick. Saw my second film by him today. Knight of Cups, phenomenal film.
Let's see.
I will say I was very disappointed with Tree of Life.
Okay.
I think Terrence Malick films are gorgeous and the cinematography is gorgeous. Fair. And I always joke, like, if I'm filming something and I point the camera up at a tree with the sunlight coming down, I'm always like, that's my Terrence Malick shot. I just think that and maybe I need to rewatch it, but like there's like 15 minutes, I feel like, of CGI space and dinosaurs in Tree of Life that felt like a Windows screensaver, and it really took me out of the movie. And I get what it was trying to say, and again, I saw this in theaters and never saw it again, so maybe I need to rewatch it. But I even heard like Sean Penn after the film was released was like, I did not sign up to be in that movie. I was in a different movie that I was told about. But so who knows? There's some great performances in it, but I don't think
I've only seen 2 of his movies, so I don't know for sure. Obviously, the Thin Red Line is one of the more popular ones.
Yes.
And then A Hidden Life is what I saw as well. But other than that, I can't speak to too much. I like the Thin Red Line. Hidden Life was okay to me. But yeah, I do understand where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, absolutely. The Thin Red Line is a classic.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That was one of the 1997, 8. I think.
You were right there in that for sure. Here's a humongous question, John, and everyone in the chat. What do you think is the best action movie ever made? T2 Judgment Day is by far the best action movie ever made.
Okay, so that's hard to argue with. This is a biased question, though, and will always be a biased question because we all have our things and, different kids. For example, if I asked my cousin who is significantly younger than me, he would probably say Mortal Kombat, like this most recent Mortal Kombat. I'd say it's biased. To me, The Matrix is the best action movie ever made. And in fact, I would even say one better. The Matrix Reloaded is the best action movie. So the second one is the best action movie ever made. But you know, that's going to be different for everybody. T2 Judgment Day as a whole, though, I think generally is looked at as like a top 3 if or top 5 for like most people if you've seen it. And so I don't disagree with that at all.
Oh,
But I do
that's
think it's like a bias thing a little bit.
it is, and it's what, like, I guess the action genre has so many subgenres,
Yeah.
and I think like it's kind of what you gravitate more towards within that action genre could
Yeah.
definitely influence what your favorite would be. Um, yeah, that's a tough one.
What do you have? What would be your bias if you had one?
I mean,
There's a lot.
I get T2. I definitely get that. I mean, I think I was just so blown away by John Wick 4. Like, I don't think it's the best
Fair.
action movie ever made. The action sequences were some of the best I've ever seen. And I think that that's also maybe a different type of categorization for these. Yeah, I think honestly, my boyfriend would agree with you, John, about the Matrix being his favorite for sure. So I could understand that one. Yeah, that's it's a complicated.
It is complicated.
Yeah, out of all the genres, I feel like that's like the most complicated one. So yes, it was a humongous question the viewer drew. Who had the most character development in this movie?
The general answer is Tom. The secondary answer would be I don't know. That's kind of hard because there's some points that all right, so here's why that's a hard question. Like Haley Atwell, you could say, so you know how everybody's talking about Phoebe Waller-Bridge and how her character didn't have the kind of plot development people would have wanted?
Yes.
Haley Atwell is a better Phoebe Waller-Bridge in Mission Impossible. Oh, we lost Nerdy Film Girl. Well, I'll continue to answer until she comes back. Haley Atwell's character is a much better Phoebe Waller-Bridge. She is, I think one of the things that happens that works really well for her is the fact that you can see where the changes in her head are starting. And I think that is something, but it still needs to be continued. Like we still need to see the second movie in order to really start seeing who went through more. Tom Cruise is the obvious answer for obvious reasons because of the fact that there are things that are threatening not just him, but his team. And this is shown in the trailer, so not really a spoiler of decision making. Like, oh, should I do this? Should I do that? I don't. This is a line in the trailer of him not wanting to compromise the team. You see that, and obviously that's kind of. But again, that's a general answer when it comes to that.
And you didn't lose me. I just felt like you had a lot of important things to say, and I just realized at this moment I could just have it focus on you. And I was like,
"Oh, well, so you made it a show? You did a show aspect there, a little spotlight. Well, I appreciate it." You know, I can't tell. I can't see on my end.
No, it'll be like me up against the guys that produced the Oscars and the Grammys next year for live telecast.
As it happens, we'll see.
Yeah. Screen 1, screen 2, screen 3. Then let's punch in. Yep.
All right. Yeah, so you didn't miss anything I just said then.
No, right. and I watched all of it. Yeah, I just purposely put you there because I thought the thing was great.
Yeah, I think we need to see more. But Haley Atwell, Grace is her character in the movie. I think she goes through the most. Some might say Rebecca Ferguson as Elsa, but I think she takes a slight back seat, just the slight. Whereas she had a little bit more prominence in the previous movies.
Yeah, I really didn't know I was going to look out with someone that saw the Mission Impossible movies today. That's for sure. the Mission Impossible movies.
I saw it like. So here's the thing. I am a little bit lucky. I have a bit of a more open schedule when it comes to stuff. So I happened to see it and I was like, I wonder if I could just sneak in here and get this out real quick. And I did. I don't live too far from a movie theater either. So
that's great. Yeah. How was your theater? Like, was it packed or
was it nobody in it?
Wow. But it was early, right?
It was, I mean, literally the movie, I thought the movie didn't officially come out until tomorrow.
Right.
So that's why I was like surprised when I saw I could get it today. It might be test screenings and things like that, but whatever, I got in there. There were people who were coming. So I saw it like basically first show. I think it's going to be packed tonight because there were people already starting to buy tickets for the later shows.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that actually reminds me, this is a great point to tell everyone in the chat because we had a pre recording session with Bone Bridger earlier today. And he said that all of the Oppenheimer and Barbie screenings were sold out. So if you are planning on trying to see that, it's next weekend, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
for the next 3 weeks alone, I think that's going to be a big time for the three of those movies.
Yes. So if you are planning on seeing Barbie or Oppenheimer, I would jump on getting those tickets sooner than later because they're already selling out. I'm sure the Mission Impossible ones are as well, but I think maybe because Mission Impossible had these extra days, kind of like
Yeah.
Wednesday, Tuesday, because I saw I could have seen it today as well. I after we pre-recorded,
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I could have seen it today. I didn't
Yeah,
even
I wanted
realize
to
that.
get in before the crowd. I have a
Yeah.
hob. I like getting in before everybody gets in if I can. I feel like everybody would if you had the chance. So yeah, I just got in there. But
Yeah.
I know it's going to be crowded later tonight and definitely tomorrow.
Absolutely. So it's a little PSA for those of anyone that's
Yeah.
watching.
Hello.
Through the Lens, he has a channel as well. He is from the UK, and he has very good taste in films. So very nice. Thank you for showing up and saying hi. Did you see where the movie was headed, or were you surprised the whole movie? Can you see where part 2 is headed?
Um, you have a general idea of where the movie is headed. When it comes to this is to go back to Haley Atwell because she, you know what's gonna happen with her. It's to be fair, the trailer gives it away because there are scenes where you see her with Tom Cruise and things like that, but you know that she is going to be she's going to have her change her heart. So there's some dead giveaways there. In a way, all of these movies are a bit predictable because it's a hero's journey type of deal. That being said, it doesn't take away from the feeling of asking the question of what's going to happen next. I think, to me personally, I think there are enough things that happen where you are surprised here and there when it comes to specific character. It's a character driven movie more than it is a narrative one.
Okay.
And so I think you'll be surprised with certain characters per se, but you probably won't be as surprised with like the plot because if you've seen enough movies, you kind of know. But I think
Right.
it still sets it up. I think it still sets up that second one and wanting to see the second one perfectly well.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm not seeing Barbie or Oppenheimer. I'm not interested.
I'm so I want to know what they make. I'm so interested to see. I think Oppenheimer does what Dunkirk did,
Mm,
where it's like it kind of has that same level of audience and just people who are interested in like the historical drama aspect of it, and it'll pull in some general audiences members as well. But I think it does the Dunkirk thing. I'm so curious about Barbie. Who knows?
I know. Yeah, we were talking about all these positive reviews early on, and I figured with those two writers, I figured it wouldn't suck, but I just wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it to have this type of like people have been like, oh my god, it's so good, it's the best thing I've seen all. I'm like, what? So, yeah.
We'll have to see. That's going to be interesting. About a week
I
away.
I think the box office, if I was going to be a gambling man, I would say Oppenheimer will do well. I think Barbie's going to do better just because of the R rating for Oppenheimer and as well as the subject matter. Because I'm actually really surprised. I keep seeing a lot of people that are just like, I don't want to see a movie about that. It's like, okay, they're
Really?
like, it's
Okay.
too depressing for them to think about the atomic bomb. And it's
That's
like,
fair.
okay,
That's fair.
yeah,
Dunkirk
I find
Dunkirk
it
was suppressing.
fascinating, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. Yeah, you're right.
That's why I think
So,
that's what it does. Yeah, for
yes.
sure.
And I like historical dramas. So, like, watching that trailer for me, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in. I wasn't alive during that time. So, I like to
You
learn
know
about these
what?
things.
You know what? Don't underestimate the worldwide box office
You're right.
for
You're right.
Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
Because that might be where it really starts to take some money in. Dunkirk, if I'm correct, made a lot of money overseas.
I bet you're so right. And I
Yeah.
think you even mentioned either in a conversation that was recorded or not, you had mentioned that Barbie potentially is not being shown in certain countries.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
the Oppenheimer might do really well overseas, where Barbie doesn't as well as it does over here.
That's fair. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
That's a good point, John. Um, I think Barbie is only going to be a success because its budget was so low.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. I think Barbie will have. Well, it'll definitely make money because its budget's so low. But that being said, I don't know. I don't know. I think it'll get there. I think it'll get. I think both of them will make money.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be a good weekend. I think it's what you said too. People want something different.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting that those two are probably the most different out of the entire summer lineup, and they came out on the same weekend. It's very strange.
Yeah. Although I think it's smart for them to almost hype each other up. You know,
Yeah,
just like, hey, and Tom Cruise is going around and hyping both of them up. It's. I think it's a good idea. I just think it's smart.
Tom Cruise has been hyping up every movie this summer, and I don't know if it's because he thinks like, well, my movie's the best, so I'm just gonna be a
It
cheerleader for everyone else.
it could be, but he's not like we've known him to do this. That's the thing
Yeah,
too. So
true.
um, but yeah, I'm curious. That's going to be interesting to see what happens there. I did you talk about the Wonka trailer?
Briefly, only because a lot of people in the comments, I like no one really said a lot about that. A couple of people had seen it. I would love to talk to you about it and your thoughts. Um, so my initial reaction was in the very beginning. Timothy Chalamet always looks like a child to me, so it was hard for me to think of him as like Gene Wilder. But then as the trailer progressed, I really liked what I saw. I like that whimsy that they had with it. So
Okay, I I think Timothy Chalamet, him and him and Tom Holland. I think I think that's going to be slightly a bit of their downfall in terms of like how people view them. Now they are both extremely successful. Obviously, Tom Holland has Spider-Man on his hands, so that'll always make some money. And honestly, because his movies haven't done as well, I think he stays as Spider-Man as long as possible. But he is a baby face, and Timothy Chalamet is also a baby face, and he's gotten away with certain things playing. He plays the king in a Netflix thing. I forgot what it's called, and it's like
the
I,
Green Knight, or
I,
something like that.
uh, something like or something. I forget what it is, but he
Yeah,
plays a young king, and so you could see it here. Though I wonder because he's almost 30, right?
I think so. Yeah, I'll look that up
So I
right
don't
now.
know. I know some people keep their baby face for a long time. It's just interesting. I could not stop looking at a teenager when I watched
Yeah,
that trailer. And it's nothing against his performance because he's actually a really good actor. Again, Dune, he'll work really well with Dune, but yeah, I don't know.
we're gonna get Nathan off the screen real quick. Uh, there
I
he
mean, look at him
is.
there. Look at him there.
Yeah, I know. Timothy Chalamet. He is 95.
It's
So
28, 27,
yeah,
28.
yeah. So he's up there. He
Yeah,
looks
I
like a
don't
child,
know.
but yeah,
Yeah.
I was happier as the trailer went on. But yeah, definitely looks like a little child to
Just a little
me.
bit. Hugh Grant in there looked interesting as well. Oompa Loompa.
Yes, I brought this up because that was the smartest thing I think they could have done to handle the Oompa Loompa situation.
Hmm.
You just make them extra like small, right?
Yeah.
Because then no one cares if it's that. I was very politically incorrect in the movie in the 70s, so I think that was the way to go. And I hated the Oompa Loompas and Tim Burton's. I knew it was that one guy, and they just
Yeah.
I don't like the Tim Burton one at all, and it's hard for me to even like have a conversation with someone that like loves that movie. My boyfriend likes the Tim Burton one, and I'm like I've shown him the Gene Wilder one, and I don't think he had ever seen it, and that's why he liked the Tim Burton one. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
That's fair. That's fair. I'm curious if because they did some different things with the movie, and they're going into some different themes. I'm curious what the theme is going to be.
Mm,
Is it still going to be the same, or are they going to try and modernize it up? And I don't think that's always a good idea. I think you should really try to keep to the theme of imagination
yes.
and keep to the theme of just exploring. Whereas this is something that Willow failed at. Willow could have done very, very well on Disney Plus if they had kept to the theme of just imagination and really expanding on certain things. Instead, I think they tried to do too much in terms of talking about society today, to the point where it even looked like society today. And it's like, well, that takes the fantasy element out of it. And then it's not as fun. And ultimately that show didn't do as well. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm interested to see how that is further received. But I think you're right, though. There aren't as many people talking about this movie as they are with like Napoleon or something else.
I think what you said was so spot on with Willy Wonka, because yes, we like to think of the Gene Wilder one as, oh well, he's like killing these kids off that don't deserve to be there.
Right.
you know, but maybe the message is in this one, because he is a younger person with
Hmm.
a very pure heart like Charlie Bucket had, and he
Yeah.
does have this some type of connection we see in like the third act of the trailer with his mom, and that was a very inspirational person to him that's creating this and pushing ahead and moving forward. Maybe that's kind of a reason why he doesn't like the kids that everything's handed to them in the original movie that we've all seen.
Yeah.
So I kind of like that angle, like you actually have to work for something. You can't be Violet Beauregard. Just,
Right.
I want
Right.
a goose, daddy. It's like, give me the, it's like,
But also,
tell
I
the goose.
mean, it's supposed to be a movie about being humble and
Yes.
being caring, and
Yes.
actually, and obviously in today's society we don't necessarily have a lot of that going on online. I will say that still goes on behind the scenes, day to day neighborly stuff, but online everything we see is constantly a bicker back and forth. And then you get into all everything, everybody chooses a side on everything. And I've heard Timothy Chalamet say in some interviews that he wants to, and he references this. He references the current climate and says he hopes that the movie can try to fix that. Now, when he says that, I'm hoping that we are going to try and like draw your attention away from that, not the we are going to make a statement on that and put it in the movie. I think that would be a bad idea.
Right. I agree with you. I think we're going to see a bigger trend of like movies that are just well made, but like fun and
Yeah.
and magical. And so, that's yes, Barbie's going to have strong messages, but that's like a fantastical type of concept to begin with. Willy Wonka especially as well, and it is like, okay, like the world's insane. Everyone just got out of COVID. um Even Asteroid City was heavily inspired by
Yeah.
Wes Anderson's time in COVID. I could tell, like in quarantining, and I think a lot of people just want to have fun again at the movie
Mhm.
and movies and make it magical. You're right. People are craving for that, I think.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that why Tom Cruise is doing so well? Just because he just wants to make a movie? Isn't that why Guardians did so well? Because they just kind of got away from everything we were seeing in Marvel, and then we got into a movie, and it was fun.
You're
Uh,
right.
uh, Even think about Mario, right? How many family things have we had this year? None of them have done well. The most recent one that's not doing well is Elemental. But like Mario comes out, and I get it. There's nostalgia and things there that would have already hyped that movie up, but it just took you away to a video game world, and I think it was just fun. And that, if you want to make money, you should probably focus on the fun these days, because the
I
messaging,
agree.
it's not working as much.
I agree. I honestly, anytime I even see a little clip of Mario and I see the two brothers together, it like puts a smile on my face. The way they were
Yeah.
animated, and I enjoyed it a lot. I totally agree with you. The colonization of Loompa Land, they do that in because there was the Roald Dahl's books. The one was the Glass Elevator, I believe, was the second book or the prequel. I'm not sure, but you
Yeah.
see like how Wonka got them to work for him. Yeah, I don't know. If,
This,
yeah, I mean,
this
We'll see how that
There's a
happens.
lot of themes with Wonka that could be.
Yeah. They'll probably change that, I would say, especially if it's Hugh
Yeah.
Grant being like, "Oh, hello, I'm gonna just start singing," and when I can't stop if they're gonna go with that angle.
Have you ever seen
Avoiding.
have you ever seen that sci-fi movie Snowpiercer with Chris Evans?
Yes,
Did you ever
I
see that
love.
YouTube video where they said Snowpiercer was basically Willy Wonka?
I think so. Yes. Oh my god. Yes. So. Oh my god. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness. That
I.
was
Whew, I saw Snowpiercer so much later than everyone else, and it was because I really fell in love with Bong Joon Ho, and after Parasite, everyone was like, "You have to watch Snowpiercer," and I was like, "Oh, okay." Like I didn't even know. I
yeah.
had heard things. Sometimes movies just you don't get a chance to see them. I loved Snowpiercer. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, it's so good.
It was one of my favorite that year, and yeah, I just remember seeing that theory of like Wonka, and then when that video, I forgot who did that video, but articles started coming out about it and things like that, and when that started coming up, I remember people started exploring the Willy Wonka world and themes again, just for a little bit for that brief period of time, and I just
Yes.
remember a whole host of stuff coming out about like actually Willy Wonka is this and it's that, and that.
I know. I wonder if Bong Joon Ho has ever addressed that. If he's ever been
That
asked.
would be interesting. That would be interesting.
If you or I ever meet him, that'll be our first question. So, how inspired by Willy Wonka were you for Snowpiercer?
Be funny if he's like directly inspired, like, oh wow,
Yeah,
all those people would be vindicated. They'd be right.
exactly. Tim Burton was cringe. Yeah, I agree. It was bizarre.
I think
Yes,
there's a
it was
lot of
very
movie
strange.
characters we want to let kids hang out with these
Yes.
days.
Favorite film by your top 4 directors. So 4 favorite movies, or is that what he's asking? 4 favorite movies by our top 4 favorite
I guess
directors?
who are your top 4 directors and what are your favorite film by them?
Okay. I personally feel like I could star this question if you want to think about it.
I know mine.
Okay,
I know I could know 2 or 3 of mine.
okay,
All right,
yeah,
so
no, that's better than nothing.
okay, so I'm not gonna go in order of like who's my favorite or anything like that, but I liked the Wachowskis, the sisters now. I think they just had a good vision for a lot of stuff. I didn't necessarily love Cloud Atlas, but I saw the vision for it, and then I've seen some of their other stuff that they did that I fairly liked. But obviously, my answer there is going to be The Matrix. So that's just get that out of the way. It's one of my favorite movies of all time. Quentin Tarantino, Pulp Fiction. That's I think another kind of obvious one for pretty much everybody. I mean, I'd be surprised. I'd be interested to see what other films people like of Quentin Tarantino. But yeah, Pulp Fiction definitely is the one for me there. Let's see. There's some other ones there. I don't know. Nerdy Film Girl might have some, but those are my top 2, like right off the top of my head that I can think about. I'll have another in like just a second.
Oh, you can. Okay. I didn't mean to put just me on, so I'm gonna do this. Oh wait, that's there's all these settings, John.
You're going through it.
I love that you brought up Tarantino because my favorite is actually Inglourious Bastards.
Okay.
I really liked. It felt like it was a challenge for him, and I think he pulled it off really well. I think the villain of Christoph Waltz is fantastic, and I really love the screenplay itself. I think is really well written. And I've said this time and time again. I think I'm a broken record when it comes to this, but I love that if you're in the perspective of a character that only speaks French and doesn't speak German, and you're hearing a German conversation, there are no subtitles. So it goes that way with English and French and German the whole movie. And I thought that was such a smart choice because it really puts you in that character's perspective. And the cinematography in that movie is really good. I do love Pulp Fiction, obviously, as well.
You know what? If there is I guess you could consider it, right? Because it doesn't really matter. Because I would say Miyazaki is also one of my favorite directors, and
Mm.
I know a lot of people probably would say Spirited Away, and obviously that's fair. Howl's Moving Castle is my favorite film by him, and yeah, I mean, animated classic to me. Sure, yeah, I go with that. So those would be my three. The fourth one could be pretty interesting. I could Ridley Scott would probably be on there. Stanley Kubrick could probably be on there. But if we're talking like a personal, like I can go back and watch these movies over and over and over again. Howl's Moving Castle, Pulp Fiction, The Matrix. I have watched those movies over and over again.
So I would love to ask you then, what is a have you if you have not seen all of Kubrick's movies, I haven't. I've seen a lot of them, but not all of them. Is there one that you haven't seen that you are looking forward to seeing the most?
I would have to know what.
Yeah.
Sure.
No, so
Um,
yeah, no, I've never seen Lolita, and I've always
okay.
wanted to see that. I know when I watched the last film he made, the one with Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise,
Eyes Wide
Eyes
Shut.
Wide Shut.
Yeah,
I was really pleasantly surprised with it because I think when it came out, it was like well received, but not like the best received. But
that's
I've
fair.
watched it a couple times, and I've really enjoyed what Kubrick was trying to do with that movie.
That's
Um,
fair.
so
I would have to look at a list of stuff that to see what I haven't seen from him. If I were
yeah.
to pick Kubrick as one, I think it'd be either between The Shining or Full Metal Jacket would be whichever. You can go back and forth between those two, but for
Oh,
my
that are your
favorites,
favorites?
yeah.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I'd have to take a look to see. I know he did Space Odyssey. I remember that. And I think
Yes.
he did A Clockwork Orange. I don't know what
Yes.
else he did though, so I'd have to see a
Yeah.
list.
Yeah. Someone actually on the in the chat said Barry Lyndon, which is a Kubrick movie, would
Hmm.
be a good companion piece for Napoleon. Um,
Okay.
and I didn't actually talk about this when that was brought up, but Kubrick wound up getting these crazy lenses from NASA to shoot Barry Lyndon all in candlelight, which has never been done before. And
Hmm.
that kind of goes into the. I don't think I do think we went. I think we landed on the moon. That's 100% how I feel. But I do think that Kubrick might have been asked to film backup footage just in case it couldn't be televised. I
It's
think the
fair.
footage we saw is on the moon and all that stuff, but I think the country was riding on this moment so heavily that it would be surprising if they didn't have a backup plan. And there's always been, people thinking that he had something to do with that, and I could totally see them being like, "Well, just film some backup footage for us." And in return, like, we'll let you use these crazy lenses that no one has access to film Barry Lyndon all in candlelight. Like it was just too
That's fair. I'd have to see that
perfect.
then. I haven't seen that movie, so I definitely would. I guess that would be the one I would have to be looking forward to see.
Yeah. It's Ryan O'Neal, I think, was the actor in that one.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's. Sorry, I'm going to go on a whole tangent about the moon landing, but
No- Hey, listen, you started tracking different kind of crowd at that
no.
point.
Yes, I'm still saying we went, but I'm just
We
saying
definitely
there's
went.
probably a backup plan. Yes.
Probably.
Yes. Let's see here. Oh no, this is old. Hang on a second. Sorry. Do either one of you get Golden Compass or Hugo vibes from the trailer?
From Wonka.
I didn't see the Golden Compass. I did, or Hugo actually. Hugo is high on my list because if you love movies, I've heard Hugo is fantastic. That's like Scorsese's movie he made for kids.
Hmm. I can see the Golden Compass being there. Yeah. Yeah,
Cool.
I can see it. For good list. Good list.
Yeah,
Wolf
that
of
is
Wall Street, Scorsese. Yeah.
that's so
Yeah.
good. Yeah. I didn't even know you were putting Eyes Wide Shut as your Kubrick pick, Fritzky. So, yeah, it deserves a revisit from people in the chat. If you haven't seen Eyes Wide Shut or need a rewatch, I think it's a solid. And it's Tom Cruise month, right? So it's the Mission
It did a
Impossible Tom Cruise
lot. Did a
month.
lot for Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman of just like
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, it just getting away from what you're normally used to seeing them in. I think so, yeah.
Um.
Yes.
Okay.
That's yeah. I
Oh yeah,
think
it is
3 hour
long.
anything is a detriment to movies.
That's true. Except for Wolf of Wall Street, I guess. But that was like, I remember even
But
then in the
that's
theater, I was like, okay.
yeah, but even then that kept hitting. It was like
Yeah,
beats
you're right.
over and over and over again. Oppenheimer looks like it's going to be a slow burn.
Yeah.
And that can be rough. That can be rough. So yeah, absolutely.
Let's hope the audio design, the sound design is better for this than it was for Tenet because I could not
Oh,
understand anything that was going on in that movie.
Tenet is such an underrated. Tenet could have been a masterpiece, and
It
maybe
could
it
have
is a
been.
masterpiece, but like we just need some fixes here and there with certain things, which it does happen. That can happen, but I thought
It
Tenet
can.
was so good, but did not utilize its full potential.
Yeah, and I saw that the guy that did the sound design, he mixed all the audio from iPhone headphones,
Mm,
and I know Nolan thinks like, oh well, the noises and the atmosphere and the sound, like the score, are the things that should matter more. But like, this is a really complicated plot, so if you can't understand
yeah,
what people are
there's a
saying,
lot,
oh my goodness,
and
yeah.
you need to hear what people are saying in this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that whole art piece scene, that was like, I had subtitles on, thank goodness. Like at that point I was like, okay, they're having like a full-on conversation and I can't hear anything. So but I think visually it's stunning. Like
yeah,
you're never gonna say that about a Nolan film that it doesn't look good. The
that's
cinematography
true.
is always just gorgeous.
Uh, yeah, it's hard. That one's hard. That is we're gonna learn how big or maybe not big of a star Timothy Chalamet is when that movie comes out.
That's a great point. Great point. It's coming out Christmas
I
or
think so.
November.
Or yeah,
It seems like it should
it's
be a Christmas movie, like bring the family, kind of like Harry Potter was. I feel like that was always
yeah. I think it's like right before Christmas, like the week before or something like that.
that. Then if yeah, I think that's really what's going to help the box office if it is placed there. I'll sit through 6 hours of Tom Cruise running, but not sure about another 3 hour Nolan Mindbender. That's funny.
That's fair. Nolan, I am under the impression that, and I could be completely wrong here, but I'm under the impression that a lot of his movies get considered with a lot more regard later on. Say what you want about Interstellar, but Interstellar got a lot of hype after Interstellar was released. I mean,
I
like
love it.
once it started getting to like DVD and subsequently streaming and things like that, there was a big push. I remember it because they did a whole new marketing campaign for Interstellar. And it's been like that kind of throughout. Tenet even started getting a lot more positivity once it came out and once the stories and the themes about what it was came out. It's interesting because Batman was the height, right? Like everybody knew who Christopher Nolan's name was by then, but I don't know if it translated as much into like every single thing is great. Like it worked for some people. Some people became Christopher Nolan fans, but other people were like, well, what happens here and what happens there? Like it's hard to go from Batman to a mind bender.
No, you're spot on. I don't understand the people that don't like Interstellar. Like I think
Oh, it's a fantastic movie.
yes, it's a fantastic film. I actually love Inception as well, and I know a lot of people don't like that. I've seen Inception multiple times. I saw it in theaters multiple times. Um, some people thought it was confusing or too much or too unbelievable, but I honestly, I think if you just, the suspension of disbelief, like if you just go for it, then it's enjoyable. And like, there's a lot of, I liked the ending a lot. I know it's like some people hate that you don't know if he's in the dream world or he's not. I think I have my own interpretation of that, and I think there are multiple different types of interpretations, and how you can even rewatch the movie in a totally different interpretation of being in someone else's
Yeah,
head the whole time. So I love that, and I don't think it's convoluted. I did feel Tenet was convoluted,
it was.
but I
Yeah,
feel like maybe you're right. Like maybe in like 5 years I revisit it, or 3 years from now, and I'm like, oh, I was wrong about Tenet. Sometimes movies take a while to really fully appreciate.
yeah,
So
agreed.
We're getting down to the wire here, so I'm going to just go through these a bit. Mario was fun. It was
Yes, it
very fun.
was.
Yes. Vicious
N-
Candid.
hmm, probably not.
What is he referring to? I'm so sorry.
uh, I'm assuming. No, actually, I was gonna say something different, but no, actually, I'm probably not sure.
Okay. I don't know what a vicious candid is, but thank you for obviously writing. Uh, oh yeah, the twist at Snowpiercer was crazy.
No, have not seen Memories of Murder,
I have not seen that
and want to
either.
see that. I got to
Yeah,
get into that.
same. Okay.
Hateful Eight. All right, that's fair. Hateful Eight took me a little bit to get into, but once I got into it, I was into it. But I do remember I didn't see it in the movie theater or anything like that. I watched it, I think, on Netflix, and I watched. It took me like 3 separate days to watch it because it was like it's done in chapters. But yeah, I do remember. But after the fact, I think I liked it more.
You and I had the same experience actually.
Oh
So
yeah,
I yes, and maybe that's another one that I need to revisit because I do love Tarantino, and it was a hard one for me to get through. But I think, again, a rewatch, I feel like I would like it more. Ice White Shot is so good, such a bold departure for Kubrick, since it doesn't really
agreed.
fall into a conventional genre like most. Yeah, yeah, it was really good. I love a lot of that. Yeah. Just rewatched it, right up there for me. I would feel it wonderfully as a stage play. Yeah, I think Tarantino was talking about if when he makes his final film, he has talked about in a couple interviews how he wants to bring The Hateful Eight to the stage and direct it as a play,
Oh
which I
okay,
think would be. I've seen it a couple times. I don't know if he's changed his mind. I feel like he's the kind of guy that would probably be really passionate about something and then change his mind and be like, no, I want to do this instead. But I in the past I had heard him speak about that.
interesting.
Um, Barry Lyndon is my favorite Kubrick, actually. Incredibly underrated. Well, thank you so much for letting us know that. I
Yeah,
hope all of the candlelight shots were well done.
yeah. I will
Okay.
actually. Yeah,
Kubrick is S tier.
I
Yes.
think most people would agree. Most with
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Any plans on pickups this sale? I'm going for Girl Can't Help It, Breakfast Club, Blowout, and maybe Raging Bull. Oh yeah,
Man,
they do it a couple times a year, I think, where there's a Criterion sale, where you can pick
I
some up.
I tend to wait till November for mine. During the summer, there's always some extra thing I have to get, so I never really
Ooh,
spend money on like ancillary fun items. But definitely in November, I'll probably do some more bigger pickups for that.
nice, nice.
Fair Memento gets forgotten a lot, I think,
Yeah,
but was also really well done.
yeah. I also like the Prestige. Um,
Oh yes, yeah, yeah. You're right. You're
I
right.
like
That
that
was
a lot.
pretty
I
good.
I didn't see that twist at all, so I don't know
Hmm.
if you did when you saw the film, but or if it was ruined for you. I'm so glad like that twist wasn't ruined for me, um, when that movie came out. Um, Bradley Stark, welcome. Hi guys, hope you're doing well. I've just ordered the Phantasm Blu-ray collection from Arrow. I've never watched any of the movies. Any thoughts on this franchise, John? Do you have any thoughts?
I've seen 3 of them. I think there's 4 or 5. I like the first one. I think the second and third are very hit or miss. And I think when it comes to the humor, you're gonna either really like it or you might find it really annoying. But I'd be curious to, yeah. The first, I'm curious. I don't even know what the reception was for that when it came out. I would be curious to know. But I do know that I did not like the second, third as much.
Good to know. I'm so glad you
Yeah,
had an answer because I'm
yeah.
not familiar, to be honest. So already. Oh, John, do you have a letterboxed?
I do not.
You do not. Okay, yeah, it's that app where you can track your movies and stuff. Um, he does not have a letterbox, but he does have a YouTube channel, Fritzky, and he puts out great content. And I have his information in the description, and his channel is John Automates. So,
Thank you.
um,
Yes.
He does some really interesting like takes on how movies are marketed. Are these movies how we like, do we need these? Is this is what they like the studios think that we need? And just overall great reviews and commentary on these films coming out. So I really highly recommend everyone check out his channel. 3 for
Yeah.
Hippolyte, hated at first, now love it. Okay, well
I've found that that's been the case for a number of people.
wow.
It's just something after it's afterwards though, after the fact.
That's so interesting. Yeah, I need to rewatch it.
Yes,
Oh yeah.
if you haven't watched that, it's a good movie, thoughtful in a good amount of parts too. So yeah.
I think we are going to be ending soon. Great Guy Pearce performance. I think this is Nolan at his best, mind-bending best. Hot take. I mean, the whole movie's shot backwards, so I mean, I don't blame you on saying it's his mind-bending best.
Absolutely. Thank
Oh,
you.
just head to
Appreciate it.
John. Oh, yes. Well, speaking of which, we have come to the conclusion of Happy Hour. I want to thank John Automates so much for joining. Sometimes I'm on his channel. Sometimes Bonebridger is on his channel, and we all kind of collaborate. And they're both really knowledgeable. And John is just such a pleasure to have on. For my live stream, you will all see him on again. If there's anything you want to promote, I know you have a couple of videos that you just put out, a couple of videos you're going to be putting out.
Oh yeah, well we did a Brand versus the Man, which is our kind of podcast series that we do, and we just did one that will be coming out this Thursday on Mission Impossible. It's actually a two-parter. We'll have a second one that comes out the following Thursday, and Nerdy Film Guru is on both of those. So if anything else, it's good to be here. I like doing this chat with you, and hopefully this continues to grow.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been such a pleasure. I know the chat has really enjoyed you being here, and it's, again, such a treat to have someone that just saw Mission Impossible. That was, couldn't have asked for anything more.
Stuck my way right in there before the crowd. So yes.
Yes. Well, everyone, thanks so much for joining. There'll be some videos coming out soon, and thanks for stopping by.